Hey y'all, and welcome to Cooking with V. I'm your host V. Today I have a very special assistant, my beautiful grand princess London. Say hi.
Hi.
She's going to be helping me today with our Surfs Up Easy Peasy Salmon. We're going to make this salmon with green beans and homemade mashed potatoes. Feel free, take the homemade mashed potato and green bean recipe to use it for next week's Thanksgiving dinner. And can y'all believe it that next week is already Thanksgiving? Ooh, the holiday season is upon us. So, because fish normally does not take that long, we're going to get started with our potatoes, then our green beans, and then we're going to fix our salmon.
Just to let you know, guys, this is my first time being on the show.
Yes, it is, but it's not her last. All right, now I've already peeled and washed about, let's see, I can't count today, 2, 4, 6, 7 potatoes. This is going to be perfect for my family this evening of 4. But for Thanksgiving, you're probably going to want, depending on how many guests, but for me, we usually have about 20 to 25 people. So I usually use an entire 10-pound bag of potatoes. So you don't have to worry about, being consistent with when you're cutting the potatoes. What you do want to make sure, it's stuck, is that you cut them very tiny because you want these to cook pretty quickly. And with potatoes, they love salt. So make sure once you add your cold water to your potatoes that you salt generously. So see, we're just cutting these up into just really small, we're dicing it, I guess you could say. And you don't have to be fancy with cutting them. I already have my pot to the side ready for the rest of these potatoes to go in with my cold water and generous salt. So we're going to finish cutting these up. We are going to add our cold water, our generous amount of salt, and then we're going to get started on our green beans. All right, I've added just enough water to cover the potatoes, and look at how small and tiny I've diced them. Again, whenever you cook potatoes, do not cook them in warm or hot water. It just removes the flavor. It makes them extremely starchy. It just does not cook well. So I added cold water, generously salted, because your potatoes love salt. They just love salt. They just suck it all in. And you won't have to add too much salt when you're putting your other mixtures into your mashed potatoes. Now, I have an electric stove. I've put it on 7. This particular eye that I put it on, it does not get as hot, hence the reason why I put it on 7. If I would have put it on my other eye, I probably would have put it on 3. So your oven, whether it's electric or gas. If it's gas, put it on, I'm going to say medium high, and it'll get these babies cooking very nicely, and you won't have to wait an hour. Probably this will take maybe 20 minutes, right? So I'm going to go ahead and transfer this over, and then we're going to work on our green beans, another wonderful recipe that my mama gave me. All right, so in my pan, I've coated the bottom with some wonderful extra virgin olive oil. And today, because it's a weekday, even though I'm retired, I have chosen to use frozen green beans. Now, if this was a Saturday or Sunday, I'd probably get fresh green beans, but because it's a weekday, a work weekday, you don't want to, take that time to snap them. So I'm just going to put, and they're not all the way unthawed, which is absolutely fine. I did take them out a little bit just to bring them to room temperature. Okay, you can start to hear the sizzle. And this is a half a bag of, I'm going to say 1 pound or possibly 2 pounds of green beans. Okay. Now, when I turned on this eye, I put it on low. Now I'm going to turn it up, and the reason why, I just didn't want my olive oil to burn. So, we have got some wonderful, wonderful ingredients to put in here. Again, this is a recipe from my mom. So I haven't altered it too much because mamas know best, okay? The only thing that I do not put in my green beans that my mom puts in her green beans is onion. My daughter, she doesn't prefer the texture of the onion, so I don't add that in. So I like the grinder. So I have my black pepper grinder and my sea salt grinder. So I'm just gonna generously, because you want these really tasteful, grind my black pepper in there. And I'm just covering it. That's all. Cover and smother, like I always say, cover and smother. Oh, do you hear that sizzle? Do y'all hear that sizzle? Now my salt. And I'm not going to cover and smother with salt, but about good 4 or 5 twists. I have my minced garlic. I'm a cheater when it comes to cooking. If you want to use fresh garlic, feel free. I would use probably a half a clove or 3/4 of a clove. Yeah, probably a half a clove. Because unlike the jar, fresh garlic has a more potent flavor. But you want to get that garlicky goodness in there. So this is my spoon that I use, and I put 2 spoonfuls and just like a little tad bit extra for measure. Y'all hear that sizzle? Okay. Now, when I do this, I normally cook this all in cooking wine. But today I'm going to do some cooking wine and some chicken stock. I think that it's sinful to cook vegetables in just regular blah water. If you don't want to use chicken stock, use vegetable stock. If you want to use beef stock, that's just as good. So I've got my white cooking wine. I think I should have probably tried to open this earlier. Okay. And I'm going to put a good, generous amount in there. Very good, generous amount. You know, if you have small children and you're scared of getting them drunk, then just put a little bit in it or just go to chicken stock. But remember, when you use any kind of alcohol or cooking wine, anything of that nature, when you cook it, you're really cooking out the alcohol, so it's not as potent. But I started with a full container, and I used almost half of it, about half of it, okay? Now I'm going to add my chicken stock. Beautiful. Not enough to cover it, but just enough to give it some liquid. And I'm just going to mix all of that together. Oh, it smells so good already. Already. If you don't have time again to bring your frozen green beans to room temperature, listen, no worries. Just going to have to cook it a little extra. Now, I prefer my green beans soft, but if you prefer yours al dente, then I would say let these cook about 20 minutes max. I'm going to probably have these cooking for a half hour. I am going to check on them every 10 minutes. Make sure that all my liquid is not dissolving, and stirring occasionally. Same thing with my potatoes. I've got my potatoes on the other eye, and they are starting to bubble. And when you're cooking, you want to try to get everything done around the same time. And as I always say, whenever you borrow or adopt a recipe, listen, put your own funk into it. Put something else in it. Delete something. Put a couple more ingredients in it. Trust in your taste buds, okay? Trust in them. If you like it, it's going to be good. And use your family as guinea pigs. I'm a firm believer in that. I've said this before. I'm going to say it again. I tell my family every time I either make a new recipe or something that I've not done in a while, I'm hovering over them like a little helicopter and saying, do you like it? Is it okay? Because if it's not okay and you're telling me that it's okay, guess what? I'm going to cook it again. All right, I'm going to put my top on this, and I'm just going to let this cook. I have this eye, which is a pretty high eye because it heats the inside and the outside of the pot. So I don't have this on high. I have this eye on, I'm going to say medium, because I definitely don't want the liquid to evaporate too quickly. Then I'm going to have some burnt green beans, and then I'm going to be upset. My family's going to be upset, and it's just going to be chaos up in this house. So we have our wonderful potatoes. They're starting to boil, which is a beautiful thing. And we're going to get to seasoning our easy peasy salmon. All right, so here I have my gorgeous, stunning 2.5 pound salmon. I don't prefer the skin that is on the bottom, so I peeled the skin off. I skinned the salmon. If you like the skin, you still have some remnants of it, which is absolutely fine. But if you like the skin that's on the bottom, feel free, leave it on. I don't prefer it, so I skin it. So I've washed my hands. I've also washed my cutting board and my bowls because I don't like a mess after I've done all this wonderful work in the kitchen. I'd rather clean as I go. Another tip also is if you have large dogs, especially those with long hair, please do not allow them in your kitchen. I don't want no dog hair in my food. I don't like human hair in my food, much less dog hair. So train your dogs not to be in the kitchen, please, while you are cooking. The cleaner the space, the easier that it's going to be for you to really create your masterpiece. And I have a really tiny kitchen, so it definitely is a must for me to make sure that I clean as I go because it'll just get too cluttered. So I said easy peasy salmon, and I mean easy peasy salmon. We're going to do two things to this in order to make it taste wonderful. We are going to add some lemon pepper seasoning on top and some butter, and that's it. So I'm going to go ahead. Now, fish is very delicate, so you definitely don't want to over season your fish. Unlike a lot of other dishes that I say cover and smother, with the salmon, you just want to cover it because you still want to be able to taste the beautiful salmon. So I did not generously pour this lemon pepper seasoning over it. I just gently covered it. All right, so we're done with that. I have about a 3/4 stick of butter. I love butter. I know y'all heard me say, I love butter. Butter is beautiful. So I may put a little bit more, but right now I have about a 3/4 stick. And I'm just gonna cut it up. Yeah, I'm gonna need some more. And place it on top of my fish. I want the butter to cover it. So I'm probably going to use a whole stick when it's all said and done. That's just me. And I have the sides, as you can see, again, tin foil. I don't like a lot of mess. Keep telling you I'm a lazy cook. I don't like a lot of mess. And I'm a lazy cleaner too. But I like my house spotless. So I have some more butter that I'm going to need for my mashed potatoes that I have been allowing to sit out to bring to room temperature. But as you can see, my tin foil, I've turned up the edges because I don't want any of this wonderful butter to spill out. I want to keep it all inside. So there we go. Actually, we've used about 1 stick of butter. Maybe a little bit over. And voila, easy peasy salmon. Now, if you don't want to use lemon pepper seasoning, that's fine. Get a fresh lemon, squeeze it over. Again, you don't want to overpower the fish, so you want to gently cover it. Throw some pepper, and as I had the grinders, just grind some pepper. If you want to add a little bit of salt, add a little bit of salt. But I love this lemon pepper seasoning because I don't have to add anything to it at all. No additional salt, no additional pepper, no additional lemon, nothing at all. So I have preheated my oven to 350 degrees. I don't like my salmon overly cooked. If this was a steak, I would say I like it medium rare. And that's how I prefer my salmon. So I'm going to cook this max for 2.5 pound, this size salmon, max 45 minutes. But what I am going to do is a half hour in, I am going to check it just to make sure that it's to my consistency. Fish should not take a long time to cook. If you are cooking your fish for an hour and a half, something is wrong. You're not doing it right. Normally, a fish would take anywhere between 20 and 45 minutes, again, depending on the temperature of your oven. If this was stovetop, it would be even quicker. We would probably be cutting this beautiful piece and having each piece cook on the stovetop 10 to 12 minutes per side, maybe just even 10 minutes per side. But again, it depends on if you like your fish more well done, then you're going to keep it in there a little bit longer. If you're like me and you like it medium rare, quote unquote, half hour, maybe 45 minutes, but that depends on your stove. So we're going to pop this baby in the oven. It looks beautiful. Look at that. Gorgeous. Gorgeous, gorgeous, gorgeous piece of salmon. And it smells so good. I mean, the lemon pepper seasoning is just, you can smell it. I'm surprised I haven't started sneezing because whenever I season food, I always sneeze. And then we're going to go and we're going to check on our potatoes. And we're going to check on our green beans and see if we're ready to mash these mashed potatoes up. All right. So our taters are done. And we're just going to, I've already drained the excess water. We're just going to go ahead and put them in there. Alrighty. And this is good for dinner for us, family of 4. So now, what we're going to do, oh, look at it just steaming. Can y'all see that steam?
Yes, really hot.
Okay. So we're going to add some milk. Go ahead. I have my beautiful grand princess back with me to assist me. And you want to make sure that you add all these ingredients while it's nice and hot.
Yeah, then it will make your potatoes really, really fresh and hot.
Absolutely.
And good. Because we cook the best. Like, I help cook, but when the girls was here, Shy cooked. So that's okay if she had a little time with my Nana, because it's her ingredient. That's
And
okay.
she's talking about
My cousins.
her cousins. Collectively, my husband and I have 9 grandbabies. Yes, Lord Jesus, take the wheel.
You do?
Yes. So what I'm gonna do is we've got butter.
Yep.
More butter the better.
Can I do it?
Let me, because it's still hot. So let me just put that in there, okay?
So guys, why is Nana putting the butter? I'm gonna tell you the special part that we're gonna put in. We're gonna put in
What is this? What is this wonderfulness?
we're gonna put in sour cream.
Yes.
And then we're gonna start mashing it.
Yes. And sour cream is what is going to bring that oomph to your mashed potatoes.
And it's gonna make your taster be good.
Yes, it is.
I love looking at sour cream with my chips, so don't say ew, don't say ew.
Okay. All right. So we are going to
Smash.
put a little bit of ground pepper into this. All right.
I put the salt.
Again, not yet because we have to taste it first because we salted our potatoes very nicely. So my assistant here is going to start, and she's washed her hands.
Yes, I did.
Yep, you got to wash your
Wait,
hands.
guys, do not
Start mashing. There
wash
we go.
your hands before you touch food.
Absolutely. So she's going to mash. And how do you know when your potatoes are done? Because they're tender. That's it. They're tender. If you can stick a butter knife in them, then they're done. Oh my goodness. Look at that. Now, if you like a thicker mashed potato, don't add as much milk. I'm going to let you do that, Lon. Go ahead. Go ahead.
What?
You got it. Mash, mash, mash. Again, if you like a thicker mashed potato, don't add as much milk. I prefer creamy mashed potatoes. And this is really simple. We've got sour cream. We've got some ground black pepper. Butter. More butter,
is
the
the main
better.
one.
Yep. And we're going to taste this to see if we need to add more salt.
Yes.
But when we put our potatoes on the stove, I generously, heavily, actually, salted my water. So I'm going to take over. We're going to finish mashing this up and taste as you go. That's the only way you're going to know if it's good or not.
Wait, guys, just to let you know, you gotta subscribe. Then we're gonna give you a single present. Whoever subscribes, 100,000 likes.
Okay. Yeah.
Give it a big thumbs up.
I don't know if we're going to get that far. But, and this is perfect for Thanksgiving dinner coming up. So we're going to mash and stir at the same time. Mash and stir.
That's right.
Yep. Go ahead. While she's mashing and stirring, I'm going to get a spoon to see if I need to add anything else. Go ahead. Finish.
That's right.
It's not all the way mashed. We're just going to add
really
a little
good.
bit salt. Just a little bit.
Really good.
Just a little bit of salt.
Yep.
And I'm going to add a little bit more butter. Now, I put in, for my, I think it was 7 potatoes, I put in almost a whole stick of butter.
I think it was 4. It looked like 4.
No, it was 7.
No.
So, for this, I'm actually going to put a whole stick of butter. Because more butter, the better. And I don't know how my mom did it.
That's right.
I'm retired. I've been retired for a year now. Almost a year. It's going to be a year in January.
And guys, just to let you know, at school we always took pictures.
Yes. So I don't know how my mom did it, but she was a working mom. And she had supper on our table by 6:30 every single night. I am, like I said, retired, and sometimes I can't even manage that.
Can I try?
So this is something, this is a meal that should take about an hour, hour and a half max. Again, we've got homemade mashed potatoes. If it's during the work week, use the prepackaged. What I would suggest is just to add a little bit of sour cream to that. I love sour cream in my mashed potatoes. I think it just absolutely gives it that kick. I can smell our fish cooking. What I'm going to do is we're going to finish mashing our wonderful mashed potatoes up. We're going to check on our salmon, check on our green beans, which I can smell as well, the cooking wine, the garlic, the chicken stock, and we should be soon to plate.
When you're done, can I?
All right, our salmon is done. It's been cooking for about 45 minutes. Woo. Now when you take it out, be very careful because the bottom of this pan is full of butter. Wonderful, beautiful butter. And bring this over to my countertop. That is a beautiful piece of fish right there. Absolutely beautiful. My goodness! I got to plate it. First, I'm gonna put some little mashed potatoes that my wonderful assistant has helped mash. Now, if you want these creamier and less lumpy, get a little mixer, a little hand mixer, and go ahead and whip them bad boys in shape. We've got our green beans. Oh my goodness. And a lot of our liquid has dissolved. I'm running out of spoons here. We made our green beans with garlic, cooking wine, a little salt, a little pepper, and some chicken stock. But feel free, if you want to use vegetable stock or beef stock, go ahead and do that. I like mine tender, so I've been cooking my green beans for about a good 45 minutes. Now I'm ready to cut into this beautiful salmon here. Oh my goodness. To me, this is cooked perfectly. To me. I don't prefer well done salmon. So as you can see, I can just cut right into that. Still nice and flaky. And you're going to want to just get your spatula up underneath there. And if you love your family, you're going to plate this on a beautiful dish. I don't love my family that much, so they're going to have to eat it right off of here. No, I'm just joking. I may plate it. But this is done. And this has been in the oven for 45 minutes. So this whole meal, from prep time to cook, has taken, I'm going to say, about an hour and a half max. Perfect weekday meal. You can cut the time by not making homemade mashed potatoes, by doing prepackaged potatoes. Please do not use the instant potatoes that are in the box. It'll just kill your whole meal. Prepackaged potatoes, add a little bit of sour cream, a little bit of salt and pepper to taste, and there you go. And we better have a seat over at this table because we got to try this out. Come on, my little associate, my little assistant. Come on, have a seat. Have a seat. Okay, what do you want to taste of? I'm going to taste it first because I'm the nana. Yes. That lemon pepper seasoning, that's all we need. You gonna blow? It's hot. Blow. Yummy, yummy. You gonna taste your little homemade mashed potatoes? Perfect, perfect. There you go. Perfect. Enough salt, sour cream, milk, butter. Perfect. Green beans. Look at them drooling on myself. Green beans. Perfect. Perfect weekday meal. The homemade mashed potatoes and green bean recipe. Feel free. Use it for next week for Thanksgiving. As always, I appreciate you for joining me. And remember, if you're not cooking with love, you're just not cooking.